What is up, guys? So, interestingly enough, for UFC 316, they're making Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, allegedly. Like, it's in the works. Obviously, if they make it, they make it. But I don't know how that one goes. I'm not opposed to seeing it. But I think it honestly is a high-profile fight that Islam Makhachev needs to kind of boost himself back up to all-time high status. Just because I voiced this opinion before, and I know it gets mixed reception, but it's just on my mind as someone who watches the sport. If you look at Islam's title run and his title defenses, they're pretty good. You know, Oliveira was a triumph moment. No one actually really saw him beating Oliveira because they didn't see him beat anybody in the top 5 yet or anything like that. He was like number 4, but like who really did he beat to irk the title shot? But he shocked the world and beat Oliveira. So it kind of showed no matter what your ranking is, you could still get the belt, need be. But then the Volkanovski fight happens and the aura of supposed invincibility went from 100 to 0. And then you had the rematch, obviously, and he shows back up, first round finish. Great, you know, it was like it proved a lot of the doubters wrong. Now he could go fight some lightweights. Out of all of them, picks Dustin Poirier, who's good, you know, knocked out Benoit Saint Denis, but if you watch that fight, until Benoit got clipped, he was dominating that pillar to post. It was a shot that changed his trajectory, and that's the thing. One shot could change it. I feel like if Dustin didn't land that, and Benoit Saint Denis went all 5 rounds, it probably would have been a really disastrous night for Dustin Poirier. So they give him the title shot, and he does surprisingly really well against Islam Makhachev, even though Islam had an infection. But then he goes up. He's supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan, who is the number 1 guy at lightweight that I think should challenge for the title. But he pulls out, and then they replace him with Moicano when he should have been fighting Arman. He probably would have beaten Arman, but beating Moicano was already a given. And there was a moment where I thought it was a knockdown, it was a slip. But you just feel like someone like Islam should just be able to run through Moicano and not even have to think about it. To the point where I'm like, okay, if he goes up against Ilia Topuria, where it was a Georgian Merab Dvalishvili who defeated Umar Nurmagomedov, the Georgian are these Dagestani guys' kryptonite. It's something about their styles. Because they don't just stick to one. Merab and Ilia Topuria have a very different style. But they are still anti-Dagestani fighters. You know, they've been shutting down games. And honestly, Ilia Topuria, looking how he KO'd Volkanovski, even though Volkanovski was coming off that Islam KO, everyone was thinking, oh, Max is coming in fresh. Max is going to win this fight. He's going to knock out Topuria. What happened? Obviously, that could have been anyone's fight. But Topuria had such a good fight IQ, it was like a methodical breakdown of his opponents, meaning that guy watches tapes. So obviously this is the fight I want to see, and I'm good with either result because either result's going to make sense. Ilia Topuria has shocked the world and shown he watches tape, he cares about who he's fighting, everything's going in full circle for him, and he's on his way to, honestly, I think he's more than earned a double title fight. 2-division champ status after knocking out Max Holloway. I think he should honestly fight Diego Lopez and Movzar first. But, bro, that guy's probably going to go up to lightweight and, you know, maybe go back down. Whereas Islam, obviously, he doesn't want to fight at welterweight because Bilal Muhammad has the title, and he might beat Shavkat Ramonov. Excuse me, I made that. I really butchered that name. But if Shavkat loses to Bilal, then I don't think Islam's really going to move up to welterweight like he wants to, because just out of respect for his teammate. So that leaves one less thing, one last option. That's Ilia Topuria. And honestly, I'm not saying Islam is going to definitely lose this fight. But if there's someone who can knock out a Dagestani, it is a Georgian. But if Islam Makhachev wins this fight, then yeah, no, I think it's definitely safe to say that he is number one pound for pound because honestly, I know they're putting him up there in pound for pound stats. I just want to see more from him and the standard that he could give us. Because I know Islam, with how close he is with Khabib, they could be giving us a lot. They'd be giving us a lot more. Maybe it is just high expectations for the work that they've been doing in the UFC for years. It has been nearly 5 years since Khabib was champion. But it honestly is like either result makes sense. Ilia gets a KO, makes sense. Islam Makhachev, shocks the world and submits Ilia Topuria. I mean, he would be shocking the world because I think a lot of people are thinking Ilia Topuria has what it takes to beat Islam. Because Islam is very knockoutable. It's happened before. But that's my breakdown. I'll see you guys on the next one. I just made up a word, knockoutable. But I'll see you. Cheers.